Greetings, my dears, in love and light. I'm Nikki Sutton. Why don't my spirit guides answer me? Now, one common problem among people seeking to make contact with their spirit guides is that they're feeling like they're not getting an answer, or they're not sure if they're getting an answer and if it's all in their imagination. Also, if they're trying to meet their spirit guides in a visualization, like a guided meditation visualization, they can't see anything. So I'll address all of these points on why your spirit guides aren't showing up, or why it seems like they're not answering you. So, first of all, our spirit guides can't fix everything for us. If we're asking them to solve a lot of problems in our life, we need to realize that we need to live our lives ourselves. We're here on a path, a journey of learning and experience, and our spirit guides can't live this for us. It's here for us to do. So we can ask them for occasional help and guidance. And oftentimes, if you don't ask, you don't get, because otherwise they're infringing on our free will. So it's good to ask sometimes. But oftentimes we're not sure if we're actually getting a response, or it seems to be falling on deaf ears. I'd also make the point that it's good to make open requests. So instead of, I have this dilemma, please can you solve it for me? Or please can you answer this question that I have. Instead, you can ask open questions with lots of possibilities. For example, you can ask your spirit guides to bring the right people into your life. Or you can ask your spirit guides to bring events and circumstances into your life for the utmost greatest good. Again, this leaves it wide open, because oftentimes there's a lot of possibilities that you can't think of, you've not thought of yet. You don't know what's good for you, and your spirit guides could bring that into your life. So large, open questions are a good idea. Bring what's best for me into my life and then relax into it and see what comes. But occasionally we do need some help. We do need an answer to a specific question. Okay. So first of all, how do we know it's not imagination? Now, the thing about getting a response from our spirit guides when we ask a specific question is that it can be mistaken for our own thought. Let's say we ask in our mind, what should I do about this problem that I've got? And then you wait for a response. And then an answer does seem to come. A solution does pop into your head. But how do you know you haven't thought that up yourself? How do you know it's not your imagination that you're communicating with your spirit guides? Well, my answer to that is, it's kind of tricky to know. But over time, you do get to know. When you begin communicating with your spirit guides, you need to feel for their energy. What their energy feels like, what it feels like when they enter your energetic aura, what their energy feels like when it comes into contact with yours. And over time, when you set time aside to communicate with your spirit guides, you can feel them there. And one way to do this, one way to know that they're there, is to arrange with them to have a calling card. Now, what's a calling card? Okay, it's a sign that they're there. So the way to arrange a calling card, to make an agreement with them that they're there, is to go into a relaxed state. You can do this during meditation. Meditate for about 5 minutes and set the intention to arrange with your guides to agree to have a calling card to know when they're there. And ask them to present that to you. Now, this may show up as a physical sensation, like a tingling. It may be a pressure in the head or on the brow. You may have a light come down within your inner vision that you can see with your third eye. You may feel a change in temperature, hot or cold, or you may just feel an energetic change, an energetic experience, that feeling that someone's entered your aura, and it may feel like love. Now, it's always good to wish your guides love anyway, and you'll often feel love coming back. So you may feel, as your calling card, an overwhelming sense of love. So in those few moments after you've asked them for their calling card, just be aware. Be really mindful in that moment for how you're feeling, physically, mentally, energetically. And the first sensation that comes, that'll be your calling card. So then wish them love, thank you very much. And next time you communicate with them, sit down and connect. Wait for your calling card to show, and then you'll know that they're there with you. So that's one way to know that your spirit guides are there and making contact with you, and that they're there to help you and answer you. So how do we get proof that they're there? Proof comes to us over time. Now, an example of how to get proof, if you need it, if you haven't had it before, is to ask for some solution if you need it. Say there's a dilemma or a challenge in your life, remembering that problems are just challenges. You ask for help with that challenge. Say thank you very much, wish them love, and then wait and see what happens in the next few days. And hey presto, you suddenly realise that that challenge, that dilemma, is sorted now. It's been fixed. And you think, oh, that was easily done. Everything's sorted now. Now, this may have been the work of your guides helping you, or it may have just been fixed. You may have solved your own problem, and it's hard to know. But over time, you can learn from patterns that when you ask, they step forward and they're there to help you. And amazingly, the problem is solved. So that's one way to have proof, if you need it, that you see that things do get fixed. As I say, it's best to solve your own challenges as well, and not ask too often, because you're here to live your own life. Okay. You can also have a synchronicity agreement with them. I have an agreement with my guides that I will see a butterfly if they're there around me. A lovely butterfly will fly by and I'll know that they're there. I have an agreement with my dad, who's passed on, that when I see a white feather, he's there. And the white feather seems to show up at really interesting times, and also in funny places as well. So I know that he's there. So that can be an answer as well. Why don't my spirit guides answer me? Well, it may come in the form of a synchronicity, it may come in the form of a sign, it may come in the form of numbers, a number pattern, depending on what you agree with them. Okay, so more about whether it's in your imagination or not. When you're in a relaxed state and you ask your guides for some advice, and then something comes to you, a thought comes to you, how do you know still that that thought is not your own? It's the same as with psychic mediums. When they do spirit contact, the contact comes into the mind in the form of thoughts. It's images, that's clairvoyance, that come into the third eye. It's a sense of knowing, that's claircognizance. It can come as clairaudience, that's hearing a voice within the mind. Or it can come as clairsentience, that's feeling a sensation or an emotion. So when a medium is communicating with spirit, it's a lot about context. It's time to communicate with spirit now, so they open their mind, they invite it in, and that's what you can do when you communicate with your guides. They open their mind and invite contact. They might ask for a message to come in, and then the next images or thoughts or a sense of knowing some information that come in. Due to that context, it's quite evident that that might be coming from spirit. And then they convey it to a client, and then they get validation as to whether this is real information or not, true information. Now for you it's hard to get validation because you're not saying the responses from your guides to anyone to know if it's true. But it works in the same way. You ask your question and relax, and the next thoughts or images or sense of knowing or emotions that come in, they're likely from your guides. It's a very subtle process, you see. There's no big signpost up, as I usually say, saying that you're doing it yet. There's no signpost up saying, hey, you're communicating now. It all comes in as thought, which you can mistake for your own. But as I say, over time you get to sense what's your own thoughts and what are being popped in there. Oftentimes they're thoughts and information that just pops in there as if from nowhere, a sudden solution that you hadn't been working towards in your mind or fathoming out. It just pops in there. You get to know it over time. You learn to trust. You learn to believe in the end, because over time you get validation that things are working out, that the information, the answers coming through are making sense. So it's a very subtle process, and you get to know over time, and your guides are there. Okay, so what about those who perform a visualization to meet their spirit guides? A guided meditation, like I've got a couple on YouTube, but they feel like they can't see anything. In my hypnosis sessions I provide, a lot of visualization is used. And I find that about 1 in 10 people are unable to visualize actually. And not many people know this. People who perform guided meditations that are based on visualization and find they can't do it end up getting frustrated with themselves and think there's something wrong, or it just doesn't make sense. But everyone has different abilities when it comes to visualization. Some people can visualize really, really well, and they can picture a face or an animal in their mind's eye and see it very clearly and in detail. Other people at the other end of the spectrum can't visualize at all, and they rely on other senses, such as a sense of knowing, that's claircognizance, just knowing the answers coming through from a guide. It's not coming through as visual images, so a guided visualization is not much good because they're not able to visualize at all. Now, on that spectrum, I'm somewhere in the middle. I can visualize quite well. But when I visualize, images can be a bit jumpy, or they can disappear and be unclear, a bit cloudy. I can't quite pin them down always, but sometimes I can. Some people just visualize so clearly, and when I work with those clients, the visualization is easy. Others, I use techniques to help them to be able to visualize, or if they can't do it, we use other methods. So communicating with a sense of knowing, just knowing what's there, knowing the answers. So this is the same. If you're trying to visually meet your guides and see them there and communicate with them, but you can't see a thing, it may just be that your mind works in a different way to those who do visualization. And oftentimes those who cannot visualize, they recall memories in terms of facts and information rather than visuals. So that doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your third eye. Your third eye brings in information and a sense of knowing and feelings too, and voices in the mind, hearing things within the mind as well. It brings in all those things, not just images. So there's nothing wrong with your third eye if you have trouble visualizing. Instead, you can rely on a sense of knowing. So in that case, I'd say that when you're feeling nice and relaxed, ask your spirit guides a question, but don't expect too much that it will come through as visuals. Just receive the answers as just knowing the answers, knowing the way forward. Okay. So in answer to the question, why don't my spirit guides answer me? Well, the answer is they probably are answering you, and you're perhaps confusing it for your own thought or disbelieving that they are answering you. And everything I've said in this video about being a very subtle process and more, hopefully that will help you to be able to communicate and know that they're there with you all the time and answering you all the time. And you can do a guided visualization if you like, that you can find on YouTube, and I have some of those. and meet them in a visualized scene or setting, for example a garden, and see them there and communicate. Or if that's not for you, you can simply meditate for a little while, set the intention to communicate, or set a calling card, feeling them there, and then communicate with them and wait for the response. If you're looking for a solution to a problem, then ask for help and then close down your meditation after a little while, after thanking them very much and wishing them love, and then just wait a few days to see if the problem or challenge clears up for you. So most importantly as well, be open to communication. Have the attitude of playful enthusiasm rather than I must achieve something right now. Because when you have the attitude of playful enthusiasm, you're in a high vibration, and your vibration is raising to meet theirs. If you're trying to pin down an answer, a solution, or you're in desperation, communication will be quite blocked because your vibration is lower. So have the attitude of playful enthusiasm, that anything goes, you're open and relaxed. So I hope that's helped you today on answering the question, why don't my spirit guides answer me? And I'm sending much love and all the best. And please leave me and others a comment on how you find the best way to communicate with your spirit guides. And please consider supporting this channel on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Nikki Sutton, so I can bring you more videos like this. And remember to click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, to receive regular spiritual inspiration on your journey through life. Like and share also, because we're raising the mass vibration together. So go now in love and peace.